much room for pragmatism within the legal frame?
Yeah, of course. I would like to continue on Werner aspects, dealing with, of course, there is administrative and time to assess and difficulties for industry when submitting dossier and how to deal with the authorities, with industry, with the time, the delay, and so on. But it is also a political approach, giving to the authorities the appropriate resources to work on this specific topic. So it is also up to the politicians as such, or European or in the world, to deal with these recognitions of practices and the impact on the public health, also on the economical point of view. The second point is also how to deal with the professional, like physicians, that use the homeopathic when the industry is not ready to produce because of their internal strategies or whatever, and how can the authorities can make, as the regulatory doesn't allow, to impose the needs, to impose the productions, or to give an impulse to the industry to be on the market for specific products or specific stocks that are needed by physicians. So there is a room here, and I'm very interested in knowing how the industry can deal with physicians and practitioners, how we can deal with general policy on public health in that domain. This is the limit of the regulations. How we have problems, or industry could have problems with the delay or the requirements on unharmonized requirement, but also authorities have needs also from industry to rely on physicians and practitioners, and to be in favor of the practices for patient and public health.
You see, as far as India is concerned, as I told earlier, our regulations are very, very easy in this country. To manufacture homeopathic medicines, it's very simple. And even the clinical trials, once we show to them, within 3 months, everything is cleared. So our country is not facing this problem. When I heard your lectures and the difficulties that you're taking 18 years for one product to get registered, our factory will close down. And please understand, homeopathy in this country is very well accepted. 2/3 of the members of the parliament, which are about 550, they take homeopathy treatment. The President of India, all the President of India, the Prime Minister, they are for homeopathy. So it is very well accepted in this country. We have no problem. I think your countries are facing problem, which is disturbing me a lot. Even in the USA, they said 18%. When I go to USA after 6 months, I meet people, when I tell them I'm homeopath, they look at me. What is that? They still have no idea what is homeopathy. It's very, very painful. But in India, when the moment we stand, we say, oh yeah, we know homeopathy. I've been taking homeopathic medicine from this doctor. And secondly, India is a very big market for lovers of homeopathy. They have small books, they read, they go to the chemist shop, they ask, give me Calcarea Phos, Nux Vomica, Belladonna, Bryon. 70% of sale is from the OTC level, 30% is from the doctors. That's another difference in this country. 70% from OTC, homeopathy lovers, they go just buy it. Okay?
Hello. Sir, I have a comment to add to Dr. Bakshi's view. I'm here, Nishant, yeah. Certainly the laws in India are quite simple in comparison to what's been practiced internationally as well. But just, there's one more, I would say if you look into the Drug and Cosmetic Act, the points mentioned, I think it's very much comparable with any international standards, but the problem comes up with the implementation in India. It's the problem, because the laws are same, but how it is implemented, there's a lot of time it goes on the drug controller or the drug inspector who comes up and who audits your plant. Are they really doing that task honestly that's a big challenge. And that's what I believe it's the implementation is a big problem rather than the laws being there.
Okay, if there are any...
Dr. Joshua, please.
Question for Jay. Jay, it's very interesting what you have shared, that you are there since 157 years. As a clinician, I have been using medicines, and some time back, I had 35 years old bottle, which I gave it to the patient, and the patient felt better. And this has been tried in number of patients. So I can vouch that 35, 40 years of medicines work. Now, you have a background of 157 years. Have you tried any of these medicines, old medicines, in some patients, which has worked and given a result? Because I was at Boric and Tafel some years back, and they had medicine which was 100 years old. Do you have something in stock, and can we try?
This, as somebody who is probably as old as some of those remedies, I think we're talking about two different things. I think that the fact that a remedy that's been around your family for a long time continues to work is an interesting point, but not a relevant one. I mean, we're talking about a regulatory standard here. We're talking about public health. We're talking about trying to guarantee safety at a minimum to the community. And so while regulation is a pendulum that can swing too hard one direction or the other, I think it's important to have a rational and realistic standard about the quality control standards for what we do. It's our responsibility to raise that bar. So it's not a relevant point as to whether or not we've had a personal experience with an older remedy that worked. The question is, do we know what the pedigree is? Do we know where it came from? Do we know how it was stored? Do we know all of the chain of custody? Do we know all the things that are important as part of a standard, not a regulatory standard? This is an ethical standard. And maybe you'll disagree with me on that, but I've had experiences where in a pinch I've used an old remedy and it's been successful, particularly on my daughter when she was little, but that doesn't influence my view that we need to do this properly if we're going to hold ourselves up to the standard of a realistic profession.
I just want to make one more point to the back potencies. It's back again. Certainly, we've got experiences that the back potencies work, and we've got results on that. But if the expiry law, the back potencies are given an approval or to be used in the manufacturing units, people who are honest can certainly make the good medicines, but there are a lot of people or in the industry who might not be able to assure the reliability of the correct back potencies being offered. And then they supply that same remedy. For example, if I trust on somebody from Germany that it's a good potency, so I would pick up a 29 potency and make a 30 and sell in the market. But that's all on my faith and my belief, which cannot be proven, which cannot be tested, which cannot be tried. I mean, unless and until, so it's my belief which says this back potency is correct or the other back potency is correct. So I think we got to have some system or some measures in place that instead of believing on having a faith of having the back potencies as a source of raw material, some reliability, some technical, some scientific information from where we can build our own back potencies from the source raw material rather than buying it from the industry.
Okay, unless there are really urgent points, then
Dr.
I would
Rajesh Shah.
like to round up.
Yes.
Oh, that's a...
Oh, somebody else? Okay. Well, when we are talking about back potencies, and somebody asked that back potency, which is 35 years old, also working. I have got a bad and good news about that. And the good news is that homeopathic medicines work even if they are 50 or 100 years old. But the bad news is that most of the medicines which you are using today, they are nothing but the descendants of back potencies. The tuberculinum which you are using in your practice today was made 135 years back in 1886.
Especially nozodes.
Especially the nozodes.
Yes.
So we all have been using the back potencies of back potencies of back potencies. And that is the biggest regulatory flaw, I would say, and we need to make a corrective measure in this area.
If we challenge the industry, all the industries will close.
Well, another,
I can prove it.
possibly yes, but another industry will begin. That will be the new chapter in homeopathy, because how far and for how long can we keep relying on faith, as you said, something which has been possibly working, and we have been having faith as an element for homeopathic medicines. Faith is the fundamental of religion. Faith cannot be a fundamental for science. Homeopathy has to be taken up as a science and not as a religion. So we need to really rework on our so-called back potencies and the pharmacopoeia that we have. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Well, in a way, I was proposing 15 minutes discussion time because I thought everyone was going to be very tired. If it's a really important question, otherwise we're going to take this into another day, please.
Last question.
Yeah, I'm Chandan from Lords. I have only one suggestion which is relevant to all. When we are talking about the back potencies and the problem of validating the back potencies, which is practically not possible. Now, can we have a guideline to develop a system of validation of potentizers at least? If we can have a system, we can have our back potencies which are reliable. Because currently, all these potentizers, they are not validated. So that's my suggestion. This can give solution to all.
You have to validate it.
This is the last question. That is why they say if this one medicine doesn't work, change the pharmacy. Bhargava, this is for you.
So we will take some of these issues into tomorrow's discussion. As I said, it seems to be a very important issue here. So I don't want to diminish the importance of this discussion, but I think for today we've had a long day, and I would like to thank definitely all our eminent speakers who have given us many interesting perspectives. I think quite a rich perspective from the industry, ranging from a very broad range of very practical experiences, which supported by actual data, how long it can take, to the legal frame. I think to even in a way the philosophical framework in which sociological framework in which we function. So I feel very privileged that we've been able to open this discussion. And I think tomorrow there will be more time for exchange. Today is a relatively full day, and we can revisit some aspects. But again, I would like to thank everybody for sharing this day, and I'm going to pass on to Rush, who's going to give us some.
Thank you, everyone. I would just like to say, because we are already overstepped, I think, about 25 minutes, and we are going to start, I think, our gala evening around 7:30 or maybe around 8 o'clock, because they will take 1 hour and more than 1 hour in resetting of this room. So you are all invited with your families. Thank you. Those who are here with families, they are all invited. Okay? Bye-bye. Thank you. See you in gala dinner. Thank you.